Hello friends, and welcome to Share Smiles. I'm Alyssa, and today I'm going to be doing a review of a book that came out earlier this year on March 6th to be exact. And that book is The Wicked Deep by Shea Ernshaw. Now, this book I had never heard of before, and on my friend's college spring break, we were house sitting for another friend of ours, and we went to a bookstore kind of exploring the area, and I came across this book, and I thought it was absolutely beautiful, and it just kind of drew me in with the cover. And I really didn't know anything about it, but I kept coming back to it at the bookstore, and I was like, I just have to have it. And so I ended up buying it, and it ended up being like the weekend that the book came out, which I thought was kind of funny and really interesting. But there was something that just kept drawing me back to it, and I thought it was just like this beautiful shiny cover. I mean, I'm trying to make it so you can see it a little bit better, but I absolutely love it. I don't think the camera's even necessarily doing it justice. If you get a chance to look at this book, it is so beautiful. But I bought this book for the cover, and I've never really done that before, so that was something that was completely new and different for me, and I'm going to talk a little bit later to see, if that really paid off for me or not. Also, something that was really cool, I have never thought to take the cover off of it, like, in buying it and then reading it or whatever, but someone else did. This showed up in like a haul or something, and they took the cover off. And let me just show you. Like, how beautiful is that, with the moon and the stars and everything, and it's carried over on the book, back on the book itself, and I absolutely love it. Like, it's absolutely gorgeous. So the book is obviously very aesthetically pleasing, to me at least, and so yeah, so that drew me in. So this review, I'm not going to promise it to be spoiler free, but it's definitely going to be spoiler light because I don't want to necessarily give it away to everyone, but I do want to talk about it. So there might be a few small details that I end up kind of giving away, but nothing major. If you want to go in knowing absolutely nothing, then I'm not really sure why you started the review, but this might be the time to leave it. But if you're okay with maybe learning a couple small details, feel free to stay along and find out what this book is all about. So in this book, we follow our main character, Penny. She lives on an island with her mother, and her father has disappeared, and we're following her during the swan season. What was actually really kind of cool is the swan season is from June 1st until June 21st, like the summer solstice. And when I started reading this, I had no idea that that's when it took place, but even though I bought it back in March when it first came out, when I decided to start reading it was in June. So I thought that that was a really interesting little tidbit for myself personally. I guess you probably don't care too much, but it was interesting that I picked it up and was reading it at the time that it would be taking place. And so what the swan season is that years ago there were these three sisters, and their last name was Swan. They were the Swan sisters. It was Marguerite, Aurora, and Hazel. And they had very different personalities, but they moved to this small town, and while there, they were tried and found to be witches and accused of being witches by the people of the town, who then drowned them in the lake. Are they by a lake? I'm going to say it's a lake, in this body of water. So they drowned them by tying stones and putting them to the bottom, and every year after that, during this time, they come back and possess the bodies of three of the town's people, the young girls specifically, and they drown the men of the town. So this is something that's happened every year since they were initially drowned, and has become a bit of like a touristy attraction. This is the only time of the year that this town even gets tourists to come in. They come from everywhere to experience the swan season, and Penny really is not into that. She doesn't want any part of it. And so her plan is to kind of just ride it all out on the island by herself. But something happens that makes that not possible for her this year, and that is the character of Beau, who shows up. He claims that he had no idea what the Swan season was, and what happened was he was just riding on the bus trying to make a new life and decided to stop at the last stop on the route, which happened to be this town in Oregon. And so that's where he is, and she feels the need to kind of protect him now, since he has kind of unknowingly walked into this curse in this town at the worst possible time, because he shows up the day that it starts. And so she feels the need to kind of protect him. Now, one of the kind of spoilery things, I guess, is that Penny has a secret of her own that we find out later in the book, and that is that she can see them. So she knows who the witches are, and every year, because it is such a big touristy thing, because it is something that happens every year and it entices people so much, it does become a little bit of it becomes a literal witch hunt. People are looking for these women, and women have been killed in the past for being accused of being one of the sisters, and the town has never gotten it right. And so Penny kind of has her own personal reasons for not turning in who exactly the sisters are, which is interesting in and of itself. And this story just kind of follows her year of trying to avoid everything but still being drawn into it, even though she wants nothing to do with it. So when I kind of looked this up a little bit before reading it, but after buying it, without learning too much, because I was trying not to learn too much, something that kept coming up, whether it be on BookTube or in other places, was comparing this to Hocus Pocus. Now that is pretty high praise, because Hocus Pocus is one of my favorite movies of all time, not just for the Halloween season, but anytime really. And so in reading this, I guess I can kind of see where some of it comes from, as I really loved Hocus Pocus, and I also really loved this book, but they are very different stories. So they both do follow 3 witches, and they both return after being tried and executed for being witches, but beyond that, the stories are very different, and the overall feel is a little different. While both of them are very fun, this one definitely has a spookier, creepier vibe, something that's a little bit more adult, a little less kind of goofy fun, and like people die in this one, in like, yes, there are some like deaths in Hocus Pocus, but it's, of the 3 witches and stuff like that, whereas in this one, like, they come back to drown the men of the town, and they succeed in doing what they came back for. So yeah, so it definitely has like a darker feel, but I do think if you are a fan of Hocus Pocus and you do like stuff that's a little bit more on the spookier side, that this is definitely one to pick up. The whole Swan season starts with a song on the lake, and just coming off of the water, and that's how you know it's starting. And when the song stops is when all 3 of the sisters have found their host body for the season, and that's when the drownings are going to begin. I thought that was really cool. I thought the imagery in this book was really cool. It's very well written, and definitely you can picture everything, and it really wraps you up in the entire story. I think that it's very well done. I think that there's a lot within the book that it handles very well, and the kind of mystery that comes with it, the intrigue that comes with it, the chilly vibes and everything that come with it are executed so well in this novel. I really loved it. I hear that it's already been picked up. I don't remember exactly by who, but to be turned into like a series or a movie or something. But I'm definitely looking forward to that too, because I can see where it would really lend itself to that. But yeah, I just think overall it's a very well done story. Like, it's a very interesting story, and it's very well written, and so I highly recommend this book. I actually give it 5 out of 5 smiles. So yeah, so if it's something that sounds interesting to you, if you like kind of spooky stuff, without getting too graphic, because I'm not really into like really gory graphic stuff, but I really like this chilly spooky stuff. Like, this was right up my alley. Like, this book was, it's almost like it was written for me. It wasn't, I don't know, Shea Ernshaw, but it's like it was. So if that's really something that you're interested in, if anything that I said sounded interesting to you, I would highly recommend picking up The Wicked Deep by Shea Ernshaw. So that is my review for today. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know down below what you think. Have you read this book? Did you like it? Did you not? I'm up for discussion, so please let me know down below. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're curious about future videos that I'll be putting out, feel free to hit the subscribe button. And thank you so much for watching. I love you all, and as always, don't forget to share them smiles. Ciao for now, friends.